Our announcement that we're back on is just a woo.
People know what that means at this point. They hear an annoying screech on the
They're
radio
like, we
and
gotta
they're
tune
like,
out.
the gays are back.
Speaking of, welcome back to the Tea with Nick C.
And Amanda B.
Where we put the bye back in, bitch.
And spill some LGBTQ+. Hi.
So, today is our spooky show, our annual spooky? Yes, annual.
Spooky. I think we did it last year, and last year was basically just playing
Kim Petras' EP.
Boo Bitch, which is all good. Well, was that Turn Off the Light?
Volume 1, but
Volume
now like
one,
the whole
okay.
album is out.
So is that all on one album? Is that how that worked? It was just
Yeah.
like the second half?
Yeah, she was like, you guys were expecting Volume 2, but I'm giving you the whole story.
We're just going to change the color of my nails and it'll be 10 times better. All right, neat. Well,
She, I have like one song. It's from the first volume, but like I technically
we've
like the
played
album.
so much.
I know.
Okay, we give her all of her pay grade now. I'm trying
But it's
not for profit.
It's honestly like my favorite one from there because I saw her in like Nashville, and this song was just like so spooky. Like she came out dressed in all black, and then it was like the lights turned green and like flashing. I felt like I was in a nightclub in Germany because she was singing in German, and everything was so intense. And I was like, yes.
You like opened your eyes and you're like, oh God, I'm still here. This is an alternate dimension. That's neat. I want to go to one of her shows. I actually went to the Japanese House show last week, which is like my favorite artist of all time. So that was like a nice, but they're like much more chill. They're not doing like rage cage type, like jumping up and down to LED lights. But that like little venue at the Bishop, I was thinking, me and my friend Katie who went, we were like, wouldn't it be so dope to have Charlie XCX or Kim in this room? Because you would be so fucking close to them. But the structure of lights that they had up there were pretty intense anyway. So I feel like they could like make it their own space if they were to come here with all of their junk. But yeah, no, we were just imagining how small that place is, but how like intimate. I don't know, it's a pretty neat space.
Petition for Charlie XCX to play a house show. Have you seen that like video of her in like in like a basement, and she's like on the like table where the DJ thing is, and she's like about to hit her head, so she's like jump.
That's dedication. That's, I don't know, that's dedication
to the art.
Yeah,
her
that
mind
sounded really like I was about to go into a football coach speech, but like she really is such a cool pop futurist. And Katie as well, who I went to the concert with, I want to flex on her for a second, is a pop futurist. You should listen to her music under KT Faithful, because I'm a big fan.
Same, actually. Big time. I interviewed her. She's a doll. She's so sweet. She's such a supporter of us.
The first time our YouTube video went up, she put it on her Instagram story, and that was like my notification as well that it was up. Which, by the way, if you're listening to this right now and you don't know, this is currently being filmed on YouTube. You can see us and our beads of sweat on our foreheads. Probably next week. I think they're published on like Mondays and Tuesdays. So you can look out for that on the WIUX-FM, like Instagram and YouTube. They'll post about it.
Yeah, if you want to watch post-Halloween spookiness, watch it then.
Also, if you're listening, text us. We say that every time, and like, I don't know, maybe we just don't have any friends, or no one listens, but like my friend Jared just said he's listening, so hi Jared. Welcome to the Spook Show. We're gonna talk about some spooky things.
Yeah, specifically Amish porn.
Amish porn. I didn't know. Okay, so my roommate works at the library, and she told me that the like most checked out genre is Amish romance, and it's like, because it makes sense. It's like there's tension, like you're not allowed to have it. Like there's probably series with Fabio on the cover and like Amish gear and beard. So like I get the fetish. Like I understand why it's a thing. I just didn't know that it existed.
I honestly, okay, so I come from a very small town and we live near Amish country.
I'm actually Mennonite.
Like I was raised Catholic. I wish I was Mennonite. I'd probably have less trauma. But so like you have to like slow down for like the horse and buggies that go by on the side of the street. You have to like swerve around them. And I'm just not a good driver, so you have no idea how many times I've almost hit them. But like who
knows what's happening in that buggy after knowing what.
Something too freaky to
I know, too freaky. Okay, after we go to like a music break real quick, I'll pull up all of these like I didn't know either that you could self-publish yourself through Kindle Amazon. So there's a bunch of there's this promoted picture that this woman showed up on my Instagram feed. And it was like a selfie of her like with her iPad with this book with like a really crappy cover that said Jealous Revenge. Jealousy's the ugliest trait. And her caption was like, I can't even call myself a writer out loud, but I guess I'm a published writer. I'm professional. Like, check out my book. And there's just like a huge selection of terribly written like mommy romance novels with typos all up in the descriptions, and like hers was one of them. But they're like obviously feeding someone, so like proud of you, girl. Keep putting out your books. I'm here reading them at least.
I was in a fiction writing class, and Amanda like masturbates to them. I hate that I did that.
Oh yeah, if you want to know what we're doing with our hands
Body.
and feet,
YouTube next week. But like, oh my gosh, what was I even talking about?
Yeah, I'm masturbating to these Jealous Revenge books.
Oh right, I was in a fiction writing class,
Yes.
and we literally took like 2 examples, and one was unobjectively good writing according to the professor, and the other one was unobjectively bad writing according to the professor. And the bad writing one was like this like weird sci-fi self-published Kindle novel, and it was like within the first sentence it was like literally like this long run-on that took on the entire page, and it was like typo after typo and like no explanation of what was going on, and I was already confused 1 page in.
I bet they had a time of their life writing it though. That's how I felt when I was like
That's,
12
like,
on
touching,
Wattpad.
though.
Do you know
12
what I mean
on
Wattpad?
I had a
Because you
Wattpad.
know you thought you were like the most professional.
Shut up.
On there writing the word. Oh my god.
I had a
No,
fan.
Cassie and I were talking about fan fiction and like the trigger words that like you see now and you're like shaft, member, like quiver, like any of those words are just like stop.
I quiver for your touch. I had a fanfiction.net, also a Wattpad, and one other thing,
About
Archive of Our
whom?
Own.
Who did you?
It was Glee fanfic.
Oh my god! About which character?
Quinn Fabray and Sam Evans.
Aw. See, I would have gone for Artie, which is why I was. That's why.
Okay, but like it was actually like I looked back and read it recently, and I'm like, damn,
Kind of good.
kind of good.
Plot? Do you remember plot?
Okay, like I basically wrote it as if at the end of Glee, right? Okay, so I hate this for me. So it's the end of Glee, and
Pre-Quinn's car crash. Or
no, post. Okay, post. But like also like Corey Monteith had died at this point, so I wrote it about after this point.
Okay.
And so like this is before the episode where Quinn gets back with Puck.
Yeah.
Literally
Wow.
the worst choice because he was so terrible to her throughout the
Also
entire
off
series.
the show too. He's so
And then he like has his character growth was shown through going to the military, which like okay, like
Yeah.
the military he is the kind of person the military would want, like stupid in high school. I mean, like it's like a 1.3 GPA, like bitch who want me,
the
bitch
one
the
that
military.
seduces Gwyneth Paltrow as the teacher. Like, come on, he would not. He has a mohawk. No one is into a mohawk unless you like.
Unless it's like like strategically
Unless you're under
ironic.
that bridge doing that one dance in that one bit.
Wait, I know exactly what you're talking about.
They're like flailing their arms if you're just listening to us right now.
But so basically she comes back to visit, and she's like still longing after Sam, and she like comes back to what is it, like the Glee, or no, she goes to New York because Sam was living in New York,
Okay.
and he's like a well-to-do
Small
model
girl
at
in
this
the big
point,
city, okay.
and she's doing really well in Yale, and they like come back together and they keep crossing paths but never meeting, and I never finished it, but like it was going to end up
Wow,
where they
you
had,
led
like,
so
this-
many people on. You know, people were waiting for those updated chapters.
I
Like,
still get notifications in my email
Shut
that
up!
I have that they're like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next one. I'm like, this was 2014 that this was written.
my flex on fan fiction is that I read after it was taken and made into like movie
Is that-
book format.
Is that the one weird like?
It's the one that
1D?
just got put on Netflix. Yes, it's literally about Harry Styles like becoming I don't know, this like bad boy in high school or college who like picks up this one like really innocent girl who's like never been touched in her life and has this like really innocent boyfriend, and he's like, you can't handle me, you don't know my secret. It's like shitty 50 Shades of Grey.
It sounded just like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, but like at the time, like I remember when she would post like chapters every week of that shit, like I was into it, and watching that movie I was like, I think the person that wrote that at the time, if I'm even remembering correctly, she was like 18. And like, if we were this age, when like, maybe at this age with my 1D craze, if I could write, like maybe I could be published like with a movie right now.
I currently write Charlie XCX fanfic.
Do you?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Oh
Well, I don't know. You were being... Nick went to AMDA for acting.
Oh.
So sometimes he makes eye contact with me and I'm like, you really love me? And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. But that was one of those.
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Don't leave me on like this. This is the spooky episode because it's just...
It's all about commitment.
Yeah, it's all about commitment. That's kind of like the... Okay, at this point, I'm running behind on my DIY Halloween costume and I can't think of anything. I'm right now wearing a crown of light up pumpkins on the show. You'll see it when it gets published. But
It's the actual pumpkins. They're rotting. It's really gross in here.
I'm like the Great Value brand pumpkin king right now, and that's okay. Because I'm also wearing like my roommate's stained sweatpants, and everything's fine. But I think I'm just going to wear a big coat and have commitment written on a piece of paper underneath it. And people are like, what are you? Ah! It'll rip open. So, like, maybe that could just... I'm not going to... I'll credit that to probably TikTok. I'm guessing that's where I found it. But, oh my God.
She's guessing. I made a TikTok for the first time over the weekend. And it's kind of a serve, so...
I love TikTok. We can talk more about TikTok after our... Do we want to do a little funky music, babe?
Maybe we should.
Yeah. I only put in one song this time around, but it's because I've only been listening to Caroline Polachek's Pang, her
so
album.
Good.
I don't know anything about her. Do you?
Yeah, she was on Tears, Charlie XCX's song on Pop 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that her aesthetic, so like, this is what I kind of gather, like watching the music video for So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings.
Uh-huh.
And this is just like what it sounds like to me, is like this album is so ethereal and just like...
Well produced times 10.
And her voice is like out of this world. It's almost as if like she is a cyborg with human emotions, because the emotions in this are so like serious, but yet you have like this weird times where her voice will be the instrument, like in the breakdown of So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings.
They like take her voice and just transpose it into different like instrumentals. It's so crazy because sometimes you'll be listening and sorry, I hit the mic, that was loud. So sometimes you'll just be listening and you're like, oh, like that instrument sounds so weird, what are they using? And you're like, it's literally her harmonizing with herself, but in like... And Willow Smith, whenever in her new album too, she'll do like really emotional screaming, and like
Caroline does that in Tears.
Caroline does that, like all over this album, and it's so great because they like flip it a bunch and make it sound all cool, and then sometimes it's really acoustic all of a sudden. And you're just like, so. Anyways, I'm gonna play I think the most popular one off of the album, but I recommend you listen to the full thing.
Highly recommend. It is so incredible.
Genuinely the only thing I've been listening to for a week, and
it's mind-blowing.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you had listened to it too when I sent it to you.
Look at Me Now and Insomnia back to back break my heart. Like actually hurt so bad. Like they hurt so good. Like anal, I guess.
And the cover for this album is just so strong. It's like it looks like she's balancing on the bow of a ship with like this tight white corset. Her hair is wet. She's like, beautiful. Anyways,
she has a very specific aesthetic that's almost like Victorian in a way, and yet it's like weirdly futuristic,
but
like
sexy too.
Post-apocalyptic.
She's like steampunk, but not cringy.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against steampunk. It's just like whenever there's that design episode and a challenge, it's like your drag race steampunk episode. It's like, oh, you're milking it.
This is now a steampunk hate show.
Yeah, right. But that's my song. That's
all right. So up first is In the Next Life by Kim Petras, and then after that we have So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings by Caroline Polachek. Thanks so much. Hey, welcome back.
I turned on the mic, so then that turns off all like the monitor noise. A monitor is also a Komodo dragon, so that was like in my head for a second, and my brain moves too quick sometimes that I think I also need Adderall. Anyways,
get that prescription.
We're back.
Welcome back. We were honestly just talking about how great music was this year for women. I think like I just made a list right now. It's titled AOTY, as it should be, because a woman should win. Thank you. But think of all the good music that came out, like Pang, Caroline Polachek, Lover by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Charlie came out
Charlie.
with the best album of all time.
The best album you'll ever buy.
Kim came out with 2.
Yeah, Clarity and Don't Turn Off the Lights. Or Turn Off the Lights. Oh, don't turn off the lights. That's that Trump quote. Don't turn off those lights. And then you got Sexorcism by like Brooke, Kandi, and Dedicated by Carly Rae Jepsen, and Slater's debut
House,
mixtape.
Underdog in this situation, but she came out with new music, which is like once in a lifetime. So like I'm so excited that it finally happened.
We get to live through it.
I also feel like Ariana had Thank You Next come out, which was like
yeah, Madame X by Madonna was so good too. Ooh, God Control is so good.
Lizzo came out.
Oh yeah, Truth Hurts. Is that the name of the album? Oh no, it's
no. It's Because I Love You. My baby. And I'm proud of women. We were actually over the break looking at different descriptions of Kindle romance novels that people can self-publish. There are many different genres. We found some interesting ones. I just recommend you look up Kindle romance novel on Amazon and read descriptions, because you will
lose your mind. You'll find something that makes you horny at least.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to read the first one that we found?
Yeah, okay. So this is one that is interracial romance short story, 5,000 plus words, plus a bonus 1K word sample of a popular BWWM mafia romance novella. BWWM, we found out yesterday, stands for Black Woman, White Male. So that's a lot to unpack there on its own.
It's a huge genre on there, too. Okay. Like all of the suggested,
But this one is called Too Freaky. All right. His ex-wife left him for being too freaky, in all caps. Zoe's meditation retreat leaves her seeking peace from her high-stress job. She travels into the woods for a peaceful meditation retreat on her own. A surprise summer hailstorm drops a rock on her head, and she passes out in a clearing 20 miles away from her home. Raccoons make off with her phone and ID. When she wakes up, she's in a tent with a mysterious wild man. Oh, Klaus has lived in the wild for 10 years. He's lost 10 girlfriends in a row because they can't handle him in bed. Hearing this story terrifies Zoe to the bone, but she can't help but wonder, how freaky is too freaky? If you can answer the question, you can call in or text us. How freaky is too freaky?
Klaus? Let me know. Let's find
We're trying to find out
what those limits are. No, that is so, like, I guess if you're thinking of just like the most outlandish plot that you possibly can to drag people in, like you're doing a great job.
Meat hooks are involved. You're being suspended by meat hooks in your back.
Oh my god.
I took a human sexuality class and we had a kink panel. Totally off topic. Not totally off topic. No, but they were like, somebody asked a question like, what's the one kink you wouldn't do? Because like everybody in there was like, I love to beat the shit out of somebody, and somebody was like, I love to get the shit beat out of me, and somebody was like, I derive a lot of joy in breaking arms. I was like, ooh.
Whoa.
And then
like consensually people will offer
yes.
Wow.
Yes,
I didn't know.
Consensually. Consent is key. I don't know. There's like a kink website that you can go to find your kink community, and there's a kink community in Bloomington if you're interested.
Okay.
But one person was like, I would never do meat hooks. That's the one. And then this one very timid, small kind of guy at the end, I think he went by the name Kitty, which is so cute. And he was like just a little cute older man. He goes, I've done meat hooks.
Where do you hook the meat hook? Onto your back?
In your skin, and you're suspended.
Under your blades, probably?
Maybe.
Sorry, I'm just like thinking about
we don't yuck your yum, but like,
no,
I
like,
could not. I have
like,
the lowest pain tolerance ever. I cry.
Yeah, exactly.
If I so much as like bruise my shin.
I understand BDSM. Like, I can support a BDSM moment. That's just like taking that to another level. So I understand that people are more pro that than I ever will be. And they have the right to do that, and they probably enjoy it. But just like thinking about that feeling combined with the other, like I don't think I could feel anything if I were under that pain.
No,
at that point.
I get my tattoo, and I like have to look away. I'm like, okay, Nick, you're okay. My mom still has to bribe me to get my flu shots. Like when I was younger, it was like, I'll get you a video game, and now my mom's like, I'll give you like $50 if you actually get your flu shot.
Oh my god, I need to do that. Don't. Ooh, yikes. I actually, okay, this is also off topic. I'll read the second novel thing next, but I was into a weird, like, kink YouTube black hole this weekend because Anthony Padilla of Smosh. Do you remember Smosh?
Yes.
When Smosh was Smosh?
Yes, I watch his videos sometimes. His I Spent a Day With.
He spends a day with like different genres of people. There was one like horseplay people that like to dress up as horses. There was the one that I'm like specifically talking about was people that are adult babies. And because there was like a TLC episode, it was like My Strange Addiction, and he brought the same person on there to speak about being a baby, and like they just got it all wrong on the TLC show. Like it was just a shockumentary type. They were trying to Nick is crying.
I'll tell you in a minute why. Continue.
but like they were just trying to make it a big shock value thing, and they weren't really caring about the community. They just wanted to make them look bad so they would have something to sell. And like I strayed away from Anthony's videos for a while because I thought he was just also going for shock value, but he like genuinely sits down and is a great interviewer.
I watched his other Kin one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they were the other Kin one. Yes, that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the horseplay, where they do
got you.
the wolf type.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the baby kink though, there are so many different ranges within like the baby community. Like there are people that actually have daddies that like are fathers with wives to other children, but they'll like come over to this girl's house and like take care of her like one day out of a week and like bottle feed her, and like she gets all of her money from him.
Y'all want to do that for me?
I was literally like, wait, how did you? Okay, like I could never do that permanently, but like how can I do that for 3 weeks so that I can pay my rent? like I don't know where you find like, and I guess you answered the question already by saying there are like kink websites and clubs, but wow. And then there are like different types of it where like some people are really into diapers and that's the only reason they do it is to wear the diaper, and like other people just like playing with toys. I don't know. There's a lot of different avenues in that, and I didn't find a baby kink Amazon Kindle book, but I did find one.
Let me say why I was crying really quick. Go. When I was very, very young, like literally 7, impressionable youth, my grandma used to like just watch TV while she was like cooking in the kitchen, and CSI. Sis. I spelled sis. CSI would come on all the time, and like I have so many just like so distinct memories from that show, and it like bothers me all the time still. And like one of them was like this guy died, and like his wife let him die because she was so unhappy in her marriage, but she like covered up that he where he was and what was happening because he had a like a professional like a sex worker come over and like was like his mommy, and he was like in a diaper and would just pretend to be a baby, and he had his own little playroom because he was so rich, but she killed him. And then
so when they found him, it was just
he was like
a dead
in a diaper
baby?
So like, but the wife covered it up, and she was like crying when they were like, why did you cover this up, like even if you didn't do it, because she like rolled up the carpet and threw it away. And she was like, how would you like it if your husband was if your husband was found dead sucking on a pacifier in a fucking adult diaper? And I was like, it still sticks with me, and that's why I was crying thinking about that, because it's touching.
Wow, that's a well-written CSI episode.
I'm sorry if I spoiled any CSI if you're like binging it on Hulu or something.
I'm just thinking of that Broad City episode where Fred Armisen hires them to clean his apartment naked, or like half naked, or like with their clothes off and bras and panties, and then he like leaves the room and they're cleaning it for money to like get, I think, like Wiz Khalifa tickets or something, and he walks back into the room with like a diaper on and he's sucking his thumb, and it's just like him being like,
oh wait, I know that one.
Yeah, okay, that's a great episode. Anyways, speaking of like babies and maybe like verging into preteens, I think this Amazon Kindle is written for the Wattpad fan fiction type people
who are
looking
just
for their Kindle novellas,
who don't want to like just like make their eyes impure by watching porn, so they read erotica. They're 12.
It's like the mom will read the first half of the description after seeing the receipt on her Amazon email account and be like, oh, it's fine, but then you keep reading and you're like, what? Okay, so this is
a damn minute.
The description. Hockey is my game. She's my goal. Fast, hot, electrifying, with a grin that could melt ice. My life was going just fine here in Brooklyn, where I've lived all my life. Then, the player they call the Nordic Lightning came skating into it. What I know about hockey I could fit on the tip of my little finger. I know even less about Erik Sorensen, but I'm a fast learner, almost as fast as he is in those skates. I've learned he's a Swedish import, or is it Norwegian? I've learned he does things on the ice that make my head spin. I've learned he does things with ice that make my head spin. I've learned he's the playmaker, the one that helps his teammates score, both on and off the ice, which is why I'm more shocked than anyone when he's the one asking me out in the most public way possible. But our worlds are as different as night and day. Could that change at homecoming?
Homecoming.
Wait
a damn minute.
They're young. That's why I was like, oh, this has got to be for like the 17-year-old in you that just really wants her pussy ate on ice or something, I guess.
The new Disney show, Pussy Ate on Ice.
Fuck Ariel tripping on her fin. Like, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for that. Wait, what was that movie with Jason Dolly where he, like, dressed up as the mascot? And Hatching Pete. Does anyone know what I'm talking? There was like Minutemen, Hatching Pete. Oh, never mind.
Wait, I do remember Jason Dolly.
He was like a hockey mascot deep in my brain. Like a chicken suit on. I don't know why he flashed into my brain when I thought about sex on ice, but like I feel like he was one of the people with flippy hair that I was like, oh, I'm so attracted to you.
Jason Dolly has raw sex appeal. Where is he at?
Probably on meth. I don't know. I don't want to say that. Jason Dolly, if you're listening, hit me up.
I did text him.
Hit me up. Yeah. Were you ever into Oliver from Hannah Montana with his
No,
hair?
Okay, so like I was into Emily Osment because I was always into like like blonde girls who look like they could beat me up.
I feel like she's even more so that on her Young and Hungry show. Like she could smack me with what are those called? Nick came over yesterday. Okay, wait. This is so off topic. Anyways, I would let Emily Osment spank me in any movie but Cyberbully.
I would let her spank me most of all then.
Throw your pills at me.
Your aspirin you couldn't get the child lock off of.
Fuck. We're here for your mental health. If you need any help, just reach out. Anyways, Nick came over to my house last night because I was having a mental breakdown.
And baby.
And he brought me tea and brownies while I was cleaning my hamster cage. He made brownies behind me, and that's just wanted to flex that I have a great friend.
Oh, stop! That's so nice. I just wanted to make you. I want to be the friend that everybody else wants or would. I don't know, like the friend that I would want, and like you are that friend to me, and so I love you. I came over, brought you hot tea, got you your brownies. Is there any left? Are there any brownies left?
Yes.
Okay. Can we go get some?
Yeah, cool. I love you like in Amish woman loves the young man she can't have. Specifically in this one titled Amish Amnesia. I'll just read a little bit of it and then summarize the rest because this description's pretty long. At first, Jane's stalker leaves strange notes, but then his attacks become bolder and more dangerous.
Is his last name Stalker?
Oh wait, I just read the wrong page. Just kidding. When Afghanistan veteran Jefferson Martin witnesses a young woman being hit by a car near his campsite, all thoughts of vacation vanish as the car speeds off. When the malnourished, battered woman wakes up, she can't remember anything before the accident. They don't know her name, so they call her Jane. When someone breaks into her hospital room and tries to kill her before getting away, Jefferson volunteers to protect Jane around the clock. Blech. He takes her back to their Kennebunkport Beach house, along with his upbeat sister Astea and his friend who served with him overseas in the Marine Corps. So basically then she gets a stalker, but then the stalker starts sending her letters about her past life, where Jane was fluent in several languages, including German. She dresses conservatively, loves to write and read, loves going to church, and can cook better than any professional chef. But she has a husband at home, and he's waiting for her to come home.
This person lived in Amish country because they
know.
Yeah,
no, they're mentioning all of these different Rumbada. Like, I guess that's like I don't want to it's I think it's like an Amish holiday, but they're like talking about it so often. It's like she has to be back by Rumbada or Rumgada or something. Rumspringa, is that it?
Wasn't that it?
Yeah, Rumspringa. Sorry, I'm the worst.
She was like really like Rumchada out here.
But basically,
can't have that, baby.
She like has to be back in Amish country by Rumspringa. But this Afghanistan war vet is now gonna like protect her, and her Amish community is gonna come to this place to like get her back. So it's gonna be like a battle. It's like the last Twilight movies battle of Amish
people
and Afghanistan war vets. So I don't know like what they were searching for in the plot of this book, but they nailed it.
They have the baseball scene and everything. But like the Amish people make the baseball bat right there in front of you, and then they use it.
And then they strike lightning. God, the best.
That's too powerful, I think, perhaps. I actually kind of need to read that.
I think I just want to read one Amish novel so I know
what the appeal is.
Yeah, because like when I go up to Goshen and hang with my grandma, I'm always buying banana bread off of Amish communities. So like, what's in your head?
Wait, Amish peanut butter is so good though.
Amish crack donuts. Have you tried them before?
No, I feel like
oh, so good. It's like
do they call it crack?
Yeah, it's called Amish crack. They're these donuts that Jaeda knows. Jaeda's filming us, and she's the best. She's the boast. She's the bestest.
We do love Jaeda.
And she's
Thanks for
nodding,
filming today, Jaeda.
But I don't know if she knows. Thanks for filming. But they're like glazed donuts rubbed in a bunch of cinnamon sugar and just like sugar and everything else in the world, and it's the best.
That does sound kind of flame.
That's my ad for Amish crack.
Yeah, get on that Amish crack cocaine.
Donuts.
Should we play some music?
Yeah, let's play some tunes.
All right. So like we're kind of doing a slight homage. We'll talk about it more to like Brooke Kandi and Kim Petras. Actually, I'll just do it real quick. But like Kim Petras released her Halloween EP, Turn Off the Light, or album, Turn Off the Lights. So good. By the way, if you need something spooky to listen to, there's a song in there called Death by Sex. It sounds like something Post Malone could do, but it's like better,
but not Post Malone.
Yeah, so. It's like a trans woman, so it's much more powerful. And then and she's just like reclaiming like spooky queer sexuality. But Brooke Kandi's new album Sexorcism, it's her debut album. It feels so surreal to have it because it's literally been 8 years since like Brooke Kandi came out with like singles on SoundCloud, and she was like, and now she's like doing like strict dirty rap, and it's so badass. And it's like, it's called Sexorcism, and she has like 6 titties on the cover, as she should, so as everybody should. And she's like reclaiming, she's like using demonic metaphors to reclaim queer and female, the demonization of queer and female sexuality, and it is so badass. Like,
we're just gonna play it for our annual sex show. It's just gonna be
actually
that album.
That's tea actually,
because
that and
I feel like that should be celebrated along with our stories.
Actually, we have a biannual sex show, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess
we do it every semester.
2. Yeah.
Okay. So up first we have Halloweeny by Ash Nico, which is appropriate. Good. And then next we have R.I.P. By Brooke Kandi featuring Ash Nico. So you get some Ash Nico back to back. Ash Nico helped so much on the Brooke Kandi album. But yeah, so enjoy those 2 spooky songs, and we'll be back.
Ayo.
Welcome back. How was that little like dirty rap Brooke Kandi? Honestly, every time I hear her go, I lose my mind. I go full blown F slur. Like I like
your head. It was so funny how Nick just said it. He was like, whenever I hear her go, gets close to the mic.
That's like her signature thing, and like I don't know. I lose my mind over it every time I hear it. I'm like, I'm full blown like queer.
You're right. Oh my god, side note, I've realized so many things since we've started filming this show that I do is just like a tick. Like, for one,
Kylie Jenner was wrong. 2016 is not the year of realizing things. It's 2019.
It's right now. By the way, if anyone watches this on the tube and they're like, is Amanda picking her nose? I'm not. I'm just crusty.
She feeds them to me in the break.
We play a game where I flick them across the room, and however many, but I just like itch my nose a lot, and somebody like watched it and texted me and was like, girl, and like screenshotted it with me like close to my nose, and I was like, no. But other than that, I just like, whenever I'm listening to you, I literally look like a nematode. Like, I put my face into my neck and like just casually like lay back, but I don't know. I didn't know that was my resting face, and now I do. So that's fun. I guess that's another thing I've gained from this show.
Speaking of posture, like weird side note is I used to have really bad posture because I'm 6'3", and I was 6 foot by the time I was like 7th grade. So like I used to like lean down because I felt I was apologizing for my height basically before I realized that it's kind of hot to be tall, I guess. And so I used to like lean down, and my mom would always be like, correct your posture. And like I think, and so I always roll my shoulders back every time I like stand up, and just to do that, just to like have that. And like my like good advice is like pretend like your nipples are lasers and like you're trying to shoot everybody's head off, like decapitate them. Yes, Jaeda's like sorry. And so like the one thing that stuck with me is like I was walking into a movie store when those were a thing and to rent a horror movie
video.
and my mom told me I looked like a gorilla, and I was like, oh.
And it imprinted on you forever.
It did.
Now you. Wow, I should have great posture because I played the cello for like 2.5 seconds, and that was like the only thing we would work on is like you'd put your hands on the back of your neck to like stack yourself up. The piano. What did you have to do?
You roll your spine.
Yeah.
And stack your vertebrae.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
Lingo from when I studied at AMDA, where Jason Derulo went to school.
Oh, God. I saw a thing that was like, oh, your boyfriend's in theater? Yeah? What's he gonna do? Stack up one vertebrae at a time? I thought that was so funny.
Ow.
That's just like a stupid like stretch where you go down and then you come back up. Anyways, that's pretty spooky. We had a pretty spooky chat about spooky things like posture and...
Can I tell one spooky thing?
Go.
And I want to know how you guys feel. It's like, I didn't realize that this was kind of hot until after somebody had pointed out, but like, people covered in blood. Like,
Carrie?
Okay, blood. No, like they're, okay, so like...
Pig blood?
Megan Fox in Jennifer's Body when she's like covered in blood, but like,
yes.
Or like boys who are like shirtless, covered in blood. It's like kind of weirdly like hot. And I didn't realize it, but I used to work at a theme park here in Indy. And here in Indiana, and like they would like splash blood on everybody, and there was like one guy that was attractive, and like when he was drenched in blood, I was like,
that's the only time you were attracted to him was when he was drenched in blood.
Yeah, because they were like very bizarre people, but like
I understand.
Whatever floats your boat.
I worked at a haunted house, and I remember like there was this one kid that was only attractive in like terrifying like skull makeup because his eyes and just like cheekbones look different because they like sculpted them. And yeah, working in a haunted house is a good time, by the way. It shitty
is so
hours,
much fun.
but
I made somebody piss themselves.
Yeah, I didn't have a scary part. I was literally like the opening monologue that would just be like, welcome to the house. Like, I didn't talk like that, but the only scare in my room was like I would be like, look at this painting that is not moving at all, and then all of a sudden like someone would pop out of it. So they were this. I was just kind of like their bitch, which is fine. I'm still that. And
you are that bitch.
I am that
bitch. I was on a catwalk, so like I was above everybody, and so when they would walk underneath me, I would lay down, and so like I would hang my upper body down and like in front of their face and like reach at them like that. And one guy hit the ground in the mud. It was so muddy. He hit the ground, backed into this corner, and he's like, guys, go on without me. I just pissed myself.
Last thing before we gotta skedaddle out of here. I was working at a different station once and got in trouble for touching someone, but it was because they ran into me. Like it was this thing where the wall was a door, but they didn't know it was a door, so I would greet them at the front, and then I'd sneak through, and then I'd be in the other room before they got there, and then I'd scare them. And so I like scared some guy from the corner, and he literally like ran at me like he was gonna punch me, but ended up just like kind of putting his arms around my shoulders, and I was like pushing him off. And then like later on that night, a manager came up and was like, hey, we gotta complain about you like pushing someone. And I was like, what, bro? So that's the only shitty thing about that job.
Yeah, actually,
I was like manhandled a lot. Yeah.
One time, okay, so
that's the spooky thing for spooky
I worked in
season.
like a house part of this like outdoor part at first, and then I requested to be moved to like a different area where I got the catwalk job, which was the best because I didn't have to scream. And so I was inside the moving picture thing basically, and I would just scream when people came by. But one time I was working with one guy who was like outside in the perimeter, and he was waiting, and he was like telling me about the felony charges for like hitting his girlfriend. He used to like black out in rage, and he was like backing me into a corner, and I was like really nervous. And then I was like, okay, somebody's coming, get into your place. And so like I went into this like door, and I forgot to lock the door because I was like nervous, and this drunk guy came through, and he was being followed but like pretty far by the like house manager.
Yeah.
And I scared him, and he got so mad that he tried to come into the room that I was in. So I crawled out of like the picture around and like went out the back and like grabbed the house manager because I was so like, because he was mad and he was gonna like hurt me, and like so like they escorted him off the premises. But like I was like, I don't want to work here anymore.
Drunk people and like really hyped up high school kids were the ones that like would always throw some shitty shit out. And so glad that era's over, but it was a great learning experience for sexy blood men.
Yeah, blood fetish.
Blood fetish.
It's a new
That's
thing
what hatched it, guys.
About. No. So we do have to go. Stay tuned for the next person on WIOX B-Sides. And we have a couple songs we didn't get to play. Nuclear Seasons by Charlie XCX and Ghost by Slater, but also Ghost with 3 T's by Slater is another good one. But yeah, stay tuned for the next one, and have a happy, safe Halloween. And
love and light.
Love and light, as I always say. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.